Most of you probably, when you go to print brick walls or stone walls, print them flat, because normally when you import an STL file, it tends to lay it flat on your build plate. Now, I was asked how I get all of the texture on my stonework and on my brickwork. And the first thing I do, which I've done with this file, is literally to stand it upright on the build plate. This, incidentally, is an STL file that's available to Merg members. It's the part of the viaduct that's on the Merg site that you can download. So what you see there is the STL file for a wall section, the top parapet section of the viaduct. Now, what I've always done before to get a little bit of texture on it, because it comes out quite plain, it's quite straightforward and you can play around with it, but it is hidden. I've checked this out in Creality Print, Anycubics Slicer and Cura Slicer, and it is in the basically in the same place. If you look on the tab, I'm hovering over Others, click on Others, there it is. You'll see down here, Fuzzy Skin. Now, this is how I normally get texture onto my brickwork or stonework. At the moment, it's saying none. So you click on that, you get a drop down which says contour, contour and hole, or all walls. Now, what I normally do is click on all walls, and then you'll see you have a fuzzy skin point distance and a fuzzy skin thickness come up. You can play around with these to get different relief on the actual item that you're printing. But for tonight, just to show you the difference, I left the fuzzy skin as it is here as 0.8 point distance and 0.3 skin thickness. And then hit slice plate. And it will take its time and it will come up and it tells me that that is going to take 2 hours and 18 minutes to print that. What with this particular STL file, you need to enable supports because there are some floating items on that side there, which is to do with how they go together. Now, I'll just come out of this a minute. Right, so there is the wall as it comes from that STL file without any fuzzy wall. So it's fairly crisp. It's almost too crisp. This one is done with the default fuzzy skin. And as you can see, there's a little bit more texture on the face of those stones, which is what you're trying to achieve. It just gives you a little bit of relief so that when you paint it, it picks up a lot more detail. And just to show you, I've done a similar thing on these tunnel mouths. So there is a tunnel mouth. That's at 00 scale. Try and get it so you can see it. There's the relief on the actual stonework. I've scaled it to N gauge. And again, you have the relief on the stonework. And I've also scaled it up to O gauge from the same file. And I think in O gauge, it does look superb. Now, I did play around probably for about 3 days, messing around with different settings on this one, just to get it to how I wanted to do it. But it's down to personal preference. And also, I printed it at the finest layer thickness that I could, which is 0.08 of a millimeter. If you do it coarser, you tend to see little holes where the fuzzy skin, where the head dithers, which is what it used to be called. You tend to see little holes, which you then need to fill. But if you put it on as at 0.1 of a millimeter, you end up with that, which I think, if you can see it there, it just gives you that little bit of extra texture. And with brickwork, 0.1 definitely works really, really well. And keep the thickness down to 0.3 because otherwise it starts getting too lumpy and doesn't look realistic at all. Um, as I say, it does work. There's a stone straight STL. That's printed flat. That's what happens if you put fuzzy skin on when it's flat. It does the wall edges rather than the face. So you need to literally orientate it from being flat upright when you print, which means that on this particular thing, I would increase the thickness and put a raft around the bottom so that it stays stable when you're printing. Otherwise, it tends to fall over and you end up with a failed print. Um, Basically, that's it. It's down to personal preference and a lot of experimentation to get the effect that you want. I hope you find that useful. Have fun playing with it. I know I have. And that's basically how I get texture onto brickwork and stonework.
Thank you, Adrian. I've got one question, I'm
Yeah.
afraid. Um, the initial STL file
Yes.
with the protruding bricks on it, did you produce that literally one brick at a time, or did you have some
I say that
separate?
that particular that for these, I produced it one brick at a time.
Right, and just
For the
extruded
tunnel
as
mouths and just extruded them out to different heights. So it
right.
gives you a different base for the stonework.
Hmm.
Obviously, with brickwork, it's going to be flat. So you'd extrude everything up to the same height so that
Hmm.
you start with a level surface and then put a little bit of texture on the top because bricks, you haven't got a great deal of texture. But yes, with the stones, that was literally traced from a photograph.
All right.
And then each stone was extruded a set amount, and then I put the fuzzy skin on the top.
So time consuming,
Very time consuming
but
to,
looks like very worth it.
um, once you've got the file, yeah, obviously it is because you can reproduce that. You can cut a segment and copy that as many times as you like to get straight brickwork. I'm sure there's lots of you that are a lot cleverer than I am at doing that in Fusion or even in your slicing program.
So what you're saying then is that from the point of view of the producing the STL, you've created a template of
Yes,
brickwork,
and
and
a
then you
template of stonework. Yes,
and then you've reduced it or cut into it or you used it more than once to in pattern format to create the wall that you wanted from that
yes,
template.
yes. Yeah,
Right,
if
good
you
one.
want a straight wall rather than a say like the tunnel mouth, I'll
Hmm.
say that was literally a copy from a photograph
Hmm.
and traced. But that gave me the basis, and then I just literally cut a segment out of the straight brickwork and copied it. And I've also got other photographs of different styles of brick from different parts of the country that I use as a template, and again trace it, extrude the stones, and go from there with the fuzzy skin. But
And there's
the actual texture is achieved using fuzzy skin. It used to be called dither. Why they changed it, I don't know. And they seem to have hidden it a lot more now. It used to be quite obvious in Cura Slicer where it was because it came up on the standard screen. But
Mhm.
in the new versions now of the slicers, it does tend to be hidden away. So I don't know what slicers you will use, but you may have to do a little bit of digging to find it. But it
I
is
was,
is
yeah,
normally there.
I was just going to ask in there then is that I've not, well, I've probably not looked for it on Prusa Slicer. Is Cura Slicer freeware or is it a chargeable one?
It's freeware.
It is, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I do believe it's in Prusa Slicer as well as Fuzzy Skin.
Right, I shall have a look for it.
But I say they do tend to hide it. I don't know
Mm.
why, because it's quite a useful little
Yeah.
feature.
And as you say, then your experience has shown you that on a brickwork section, you're better off printing it in the upright mode because most,
and
I'd say
and on
most would,
stonework as well, because it
yeah.
actually works on the wall rather than on the face.
I see. Because I mean, naturally, certainly, I've always tried to print brickwork flat, as it were, to sort of get the pattern. But what you're saying is the upright one is better.
The upright to get certainly with these, that's how it was printed that way up.
Hmm.
And I obviously printed two so that you could have the two halves and join them together.